Monk is on the menu. Getting topped up, Lengster spending heal packs on the arm, and now Lengster himself is lowered. That's a stick. There's no immortality field to save you from that. And Lenny comes up with 2.
And that's what you have to do on the Tracer, right?
Again!
Oh, dude.
They refuse to go down.
Today's video is all about Leave. He was one of the best DPS players at the Overwatch World Cup, and while his performances have been somewhat overshadowed by the crucial mistakes he made at the end of the Grand Finals versus Saudi Arabia, I still think he was one of the best DPS players at this tournament, especially on the Genji. I think a good way to highlight this would be to look at 2 crazy plays he made back-to-back against Team USA in the quarterfinals, where he won a 3v5, followed by another 3v5. Seems pretty improbable, but he did it twice in a row. Let's take a closer look. It all happened on Lijiang Tower. It'd been a back-end 4th map so far, tied up 1-1, control center as the decider. Team USA had been on counter dive the entire map, and no surprise, China were on dive, as they always are for the entire map. As we get to control center, Team USA wanted to try and change things up a little bit and ramp up the pace. They wanted to try and play more aggressively while China was setting up. We all know China and dive teams like to set up where they have one group main, say an Nano Doom, then a Genji Brig on some kind of off angle, and potentially a hit scan on another off angle. So what Team USA want to do is they want to up the tempo and exploit this setup time to try and just push one of these sides. And that's exactly what we see in this first fight here. Team USA are going to go nice and early. They're going to look to push Monk and Gushui in main. Because they have the Tracer as well, they end up with this really nice Tracer v Ana matchup. Really straightforward kill for Sugar Free, especially when the Brig is so far away. Gushui's going to try and take attention, but it's no good. Team USA are able to rotate in. They do get their lamp force because UV is quite low. And this is now an important timing for China, because if we go to RuPaul's POV, we'll see he now has no cooldowns. And this is what you want as the dive team. Obviously, you'd much rather your Ana was still alive at the time, but in general, you want to do a series of soft dives and pressure to force out the BAP's cooldowns, and particularly the Bastion form, which they've also got out here. Then once those cooldowns are out of the way, there's a really big kill window timing where you can either dive for BAP or even dive for Bastion, hopefully try and find a kill. Obviously, this has been disrupted quite heavily because they lost their Ana and they're not really set up. But now if I'm Team USA, I just have to be conscious that my BAP has no cooldowns. Let's slow it down. But what happens next is they force Gushui's cooldowns. He uses his punch and his shift. So now all of a sudden, Gushui is super vulnerable. So they're going to keep pushing to kill Gushui. And what this allows is a little bit of an opening here. What you can see is RuPaul and UV are sort of dragged into this position to follow up on the Gushui kill, but what they do is this actually puts them in big line of sight, that danger for Leave and Shy. All of a sudden they can all shoot RuPaul. So if I'm RuPaul and I'm a good flex support, I always want to know where's my nearest exit, where's my nearest corner if I ever get into danger. Round here's a pretty good one, or you can maybe even go back main, that's kind of a longer way. So the shorter one seems more reasonable. You stay close to your team. You don't break line of sight by putting a wall between your team or anything like that. Seems quite reasonable. But unbeknownst to RuPaul, Lengster is still on the flank. So even though they now lose Gushui and they find themselves without an Ana, without a Doom, without any ults, Lengster's going to be able to get in this boop, sends RuPaul back into the worst possible position, sets up this first kill for Leave. Now let's go back in time a little and let's watch this from Leave's point of view. What we're going to see is Leave start in this dark area with his Brig. He's probably going to make a move a little bit too late, if anything, on USA. Really, he'd like to be a few steps forward, already pressuring the tail. But he still gets pressure onto UV, helps force the lamp. Now the cooldown's out. Now Team USA turn on him. He's going to dash out, get packed up by Lengster as well. And now all of a sudden, this is where he gets the big opening. He pounces on this so quickly. As soon as he sees this first kill go, he realizes there's another chance. The Brig is low as well. He dashes in, just about gets the finishing kill, and now he's got a second dash reset as well. And because he's got the second dash reset, he can start to put pressure on Hydron. Not only does he get the kill, despite Super sending the shield to help, he gets a dash reset, which means he gets to live as well. Sugar Free tries to trace him down, but Leave has survived. It's now a 2v2. Super's going to hit the rock, but because Sugar Free wasted his cooldowns chasing Leave, he actually can't follow up on this rock. So now Leave's able to dash, put pressure onto Super, and they even get the late stagger kill onto Super as well. Despite losing 2 people immediately, despite having no ults, They bleed out a lot of Team USA's resources, and then they're able to punish. You can make a real case that USA could have slowed it down and got a little bit more step-by-step because they had no BAP cooldowns, but it still takes a lot for Leave to turn that situation. A great job identifying the chance to clutch, and a great job pulling it off. In the very next fight, we see a really similar setup. Again, China going to start in the same area. And this time, though, Lengtser's going to be tighter to Monk because he's getting harassed by a Tracer. So Lengtser just has to be in pack range and in an area where he can mark the Tracer. This means slightly less pocket for Leave and Shy on the flanks. And in general, China just look a little bit narrower compared to how we saw them try and set up on first fight because they're expecting Team USA's aggression. But it's still hard to deal with. Team USA are going to do the exact same thing. They're going to clear out Gushwei a little bit. Leave's going to lurk on the high ground behind. But they're really interested in just rotating in this Chinese backline. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to ramp it up. Thick is going to hit. Then he's going to follow up onto Lengtser as well. He manages to get both kills. And this now looks, again, a pretty unwinnable situation for China. They have the Meteor Strike, nearly the DPS ults, but there's surely no way, right? 3v5, lost your support so early in the fight. Just take the loss, it feels like you have to. But once again, Leave is able to find a clutch. So if we go back and watch this from Leave's point of view, Leave's going to start harassing them. They're going to start walking now. And now you see, compared to the first fight, Leave is so much closer and more ready to go on the tail as Team USA rotate in. And this is exactly what Leave wants to do, because he wants to force resources as Team USA walk in. And he's going to do exactly that. Hits the dinks onto UV, then hits the dash. UV probably makes a mistake bashing in here. I think if I'm UV, I want to be way more focused on rotating with my team and just guarding our back, but still rotating, rather than committing cooldowns to fight in this area. Because then what happens because of that, the lamp is forced. It's a good lamp by RuPaul, but not only is lamp force, RuPaul's also going to shift. I don't know if you saw it, but he's going to shift UV in this situation as well, which now means we're in the same situation as first fight. No cooldowns for the BAP. But while the BAP has no cooldowns, it's cost us both support, so it's not a good trade, in theory. But Leave's going to keep going. Gushwei's going to take some attention. And then again, we find ourselves in a situation. No cooldowns. Leave's just going to spot the opportunity. In reality, he's probably just playing for a trade here. And that'll be the call. Whatever the Chinese word for trade is probably what's being said now. Get as many kills as you can and build your ults, etc. But he spots the opening, sees the dash, hits the first dash, chains the dash together. Gushwei comes back in. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, China have just wiped them. Again, a lot of good value on the walk-in. They're able to get the kills in these areas where Team USA are walking forward. Team USA could probably be a little bit more diligent and careful after RuPaul's cooldowns are forced. They could probably do a better job pocketing UV through these rotations as well. But credit has to be given to Leave and the rest of Team China for setting up these situations. Because what's going to happen now in the next fight, if we fast forward a little bit, they're going to have all the ults coming up, and the dive team is so comfortable when they have all the big ults. And if we go to Leave's point of view again, not only has he managed to now turn 2 really difficult fights for his team, he's now going to get a Nano Blade fight. And this Nano Blade fight is going to put them in touching distance of winning this first map. They make a little bit of a mistake here, China, and there's going to be a window. And the Nano's dropped on Leave now. It's a small miscommunication between Monk and Leave. Obviously, Monk thinks Leave wants to go immediately and go through the window. Leave wants to just de-peek it and go afterwards. Leave is going to be composed, though. A lot of Genjis might panic in a situation and just force the blade to try and get value with the Nano. Leave's going to wait half a second. He's going to see him de-peeking. He's going to one dash to chase, another dash to go. Kills the lamp, kills RuPaul, cleans everything up, even hits a nice deflect at the end. And now he's put China in prime position to finish off this first map.